Ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask, is this verse of the Quran the most controversial verse? They have taken their rabbis and monks as well as gods besides Allah and the Messiah, the son of Maryam, and they were not commanded except to worship only one God. None is worthy of worship except him. Purity is to him above what they associate with him. Now that is the literal translation of Quran chapter 9 verse 31, and that translation was by a Christian who happens to know Arabic. But I just thought, let me check what Muslim scholars translation is, so as not to be misguided by a Christian, so to say. So Sahih International says, they have taken their scholars and law and monks as lords beside Allah, and also the Messiah, the son of Mary. And they were not commanded except to worship one God. There is no deity except him. Exalted is he above whatever they associate with him. Muhammad Assad says, they have taken their rabbis and their monks as well as the Christ, son of Mary, for their lords beside God, although they have been bidden to worship none but the one God. Yusuf Ali translates that verse of the Quran as, they take their priests and their anchorites to be their lords in derogation of Allah, and they take as their Lord Christ the son of Mary, yet they were commanded to worship but one Allah. There is no God but He. Praise and glory to Him. Far is He from having the partners they associate with Him. Now, if you look at these three translations of that verse, that one simple verse, you find three different things. First and foremost, Sahih International, yes, got it almost as that Christian scholar did, but Sahih International imported the word also, which is not in the Quranic or the Arabic version of that verse. I wouldn't know why he would do so. Perhaps it is they are trying to cover up something. You know, more than 90% of Muslims around the world don't know Arabic. So the Quran they read is most likely the English translation. And as far as they have an agenda to really cover up this mess in the Quran, these people will not understand it. They would not even know there is a mess in the first place. Why did Muhammad Assad place where the Messiah, the son of Mary, is from that of Sahih International? He placed it before Allah. Why Sahih International had it Allah and the Messiah? Muhammad Assad had, as well as the Christ, son of Mary, for other lords beside God. So Christ comes first, beside God. That's interesting. Yusuf Ali is even saying something totally different. They take their priests and their anchorites to be their Lord in derogation of Allah, and they take as their Lord Christ, the son of Mary. Separate thing entirely. Yet they were not commanded to worship but one Allah. So I didn't trust all the translations. I thought, let me look for an independent source to translate that very verse for me. So I went to Google Translate, and Google says, they took their rabbis and monks as lords beside Allah and the Messiah, son of Mary, and they were not commanded except to worship. He is the one. There is no God but Him. Glory to Him above what they associate with Him. So you find out that from Google Translation and that of Sahih International are almost alike, except for the fact that Sahih International imported that word also that is missing in the Arabic script. Now, if you look at this verse closely, you find out that this verse has a lot to it. First and foremost, I will need to retranslate this verse so that you will understand what I am trying to say. Follow along. My translation also goes with that of Google and, of course, the Christian scholar and that of Sahih International, except for the fact that I'm removing the also from what Sahih International have in its translation. They have taken their rabbis and monks as well as gods besides Allah and the Messiah, son of Maryam. You see, I've included a parenthesis in it. And you are not commanded except to worship only one God. None is worthy of worship except God, except Him. Purity to him above what they associate with him. Now, if you look at my translation, you will find out that there are two key things in that scripture, in that verse of the Quran. First and foremost is the fact that there is a contradiction in that verse. Then secondly, the comparison of Allah and Messiah. Now, I'll start from the second one. Why did I say comparison? There is none to be worshipped except for Allah and the Messiah. That is why I have them in parentheses. It's just like saying in a class of 50, every student failed except for Yusuf and Ali. So Yusuf and Ali are in one class, or on one end, on one part of this, on one end of the spectrum, while the rest 48 students are on the other end of the spectrum. So Yusuf and Ali have something in common, while the others have something in common. Allah and the Messiah are the only ones to be worshipped, are the only ones to be taken as Lord, while the other ones, the people on the other end, are to take Allah and the Messiah as Lords, are to take Allah and the Messiah as the only ones to be worshipped. That is why I have them in parentheses. That besides, before Allah and the Messiah, is a verb that is actually comparing both of them. It is a verb that is actually putting them apart or putting them aside from the rest of the group. The ending between Allah and the Messiah is also joining them together. So it means Allah is Lord, the Messiah is also Lord. So whatever you do to Allah, according to that verse, you also do to the Messiah. If you are worshiping Allah, you worship the Messiah. If you are reverencing Allah, you reverence the Messiah. Whatsoever thing you do to Allah, you do to the Messiah. That is on the one hand. On the other hand, why I said it has a contradiction is the fact that while the verse is telling us to reverence or worship or do whatever it is we do to Allah, to the Messiah, it is also telling us that Allah and the Messiah are not one. In one breath, it has classified them as one. In the other breath, it is classifying them as not being one. Such a contradiction. Could Allah make such a mistake? Did Allah make an error? Allah should not make an error. Is it the writers that made an error? I don't think the writers made an error. So let me have your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think? If you are new in this space, please click on the subscribe button. Join our community. We are heading towards 1,000. Be among the first 1,000. Click the subscribe button and hit the like button on this video as well, so that more people, YouTube can recommend this video to more people to see. I want to have a robust debate on this. Thank you.